After Bhishma ruined her chances of marrying the man of her dreams, Amba set out for vengeance. She approached Lord Parashuram, the sixth avatar of Vishnu, and immortal himself, who was the guru of Bhishma. Parashuram gave Bhishma two options: take Amba as his wife or die. But Bhishma, vow of celibacy, it was impossible. So he took up arms against his guru. The epic battle raged for 23 days, and it was only when the gods themselves intervened that Parshuram stopped. It was a draw. Amba then approached Kartikeya, the god of war, who gave her a garland of roses. If one wore it and fought Bhishma, he would be victorious. But none of the king or warriors stepped up against the mighty Bhishma. So, Amba did hard tapasya. She gave up food and sleep and stood still in river Yamuna for 6 months. Finally, Lord Shiva himself appeared, who granted her the boon that she would be the reason for Bhishma's end in her next birth. All of this leads to Shikhandi, Arjun's deception, and Bhishma's death upon a bed of arrows. But why get ahead of the story when there is so much more to come? Here's the strange tale of how Kauravas and Pandavs were born. Their grandfather, Vichitravirya, died without an heir. He was married to the princesses of Kashi, Ambika and Ambalika. Now his mother, Satyavati, urged to evoke the practice of Niyog. It basically meant that if the husband died without an heir, a male relative, usually the brother, would impregnate the widow so that the bloodline continues. Now Vichitravirya had two half-brothers, Bhishma and sage Vyasa. Bhishma, vow of celibacy, he said no. So the great sage Vyasa was called. Now Vyasa was, to put it delicately, ugly. Like so much so that when he took the first wife Ambika, she kept her eyes closed the entire time. Bad idea. Her son Dhritarashtra was born blind. So sage Vyasa was called again. And the second wife Ambalika was explicitly told to keep her eyes open at all times. She did so, but she was so afraid of his looks that she grew pale. Bad idea. Her son Pandu was born a pale and a weak child. So sage Vyasa was called again. Ambalika was told to just be normal, but she couldn't go through it again. So she dressed her maid well, put lots of makeup, and sent her instead. The maid's son, Vidur, was the perfect child. But since he did not have royal blood, he never got the throne. Dhritarashtra and Pandu fathered Kauravas and Pandavs, whose rivalry gave birth to the greatest epic in the world. Since Dhritarashtra was blind, Pandu became the king of Hastinapur. He was a handsome lad and led many conquests. Took two queens, Kunti and Madri. Now Pandu loved hunting. So one day, while he was out alone in the forests, he saw two deers who were, how do I say this politely, getting naughty. Pandu thought easy kill, two birds with one stone, and he shot the arrows. Bad idea. When he approached closer, he found that it was Rishi Kendama, who was making love to his wife. Pandu sank and apologized. He tried to explain that he thought that he saw two deers, but the dying Rishi made a solid point. What kind of a man even thinks about killing two animals for making love? So with his dying breath, Rishi Kendama cursed Pandu. The next time he tries to get naughty, he will die. So then how were the Pandavs even born? We will know in tomorrow's episode. As we approach the curious tale of how the Pandavs were born, we need to know the backstory of Kunti. Kunti was born with the name Pritha to Surasena, a Yadav king. She was the sister of Vasudev, the father of Lord Krishna. As a child, her father gave her up for adoption to Kunti Bhoj, her uncle, as he was childless. She was thus named Kunti. She grew up to be a devoted and pious girl. When her father hosted the great Rishi Durvasa, who was famous for his short temper, it could have been a bad idea. I mean, here's a list of people he had cursed. Lord Indra, Goddess Saraswati, Krishna's wife Rukmini, and even his own wife, to be reduced to a heap of dust because she kept arguing with him relentlessly. Now Rishi Durvasa was extremely pleased with Kunti's care and devotion, so he granted her a boon, a mantra that can invoke any god she chooses to bless her with children. Kunti grew up to be a beautiful woman and she got curious. So she invoked the mantra and was visited by the sun god, Surya, who blessed her with a child. That child was Karna, one of the most epic heroes of this tale. Karna was born with a divine armor attached to his skin. Kunti got scared. Our society, even today, look down upon women who have children out of wedlock. Now imagine how the society would have reacted to her back then. So she kept it a secret, put baby Karna in a basket and set him afloat over the river Ganga. Years later, she chose the king of Hastinapur, Pandu, as her husband. And all of this is building up to the strange tale of the birth of the 5 Pandavs. after Pandu got cursed that if he tries to make love to his wives, he will die. He decided it was time to change. He left his crown for his brother, Dhritarashtra, and went for exile with his wives, hoping to impress the gods who could lift his curse. He roamed for many years and became miserable since he couldn't produce a child. That is when Kunti told him her secret. She had a boon, a mantra which can allow her to have children of any god she chooses. Pandu was over the moon. He wanted a righteous and wise son, so Kunti called upon Dharmadev, from whom Yudhishthir was born. Fun fact, Dharmadev is the same as Yamraj, the god of death. Fun fact 2, Yudhishthir means one who is steady, even in battle. Yudh, battle, sthir, stable. Then Pandu wanted a powerful son, so Kunti called upon Vayu, the god of wind, and Bhim was born. Then she called upon Indra, king of gods, and Arjun was born. But then Madri was like, hello. Reluctantly, Kunti shared her secret mantra with Madri. Madri was adventurous, so she called upon the Ashwin twins, the gods of medicine and science, and she gave birth to Nakul and Sahadev. But Kunti got angry that she called two gods, so she gave up the boon and there could be no more Pandavs. Then one day, Pandu was with Madri and he lost control. Bad idea. He died instantly. Madri felt guilty and she took her own life as well. Thus, Kunti raised the 5 kids of Pandu.